You probably would have heard about the company called Letshuoer. It has a lot of products and some of them are really popular. What if I told you that Letshuoer has a new flagship? Let's begin. Welcome back, Audiophiles. It's me, your boy Joe, back again with another video. And this time we'll be looking at an item which is super new that is not even the website yet, at least for the time of this review. Yes, I'm talking about the Letshuoer EJ10. Now, the Letshuoer EJ10 is a super new IEM, which is a flagship from the Letshuoer brand, which has been graciously given to me from the Geek Group. So huge thanks to Geek India for letting me use this particular unit. And as always, all thoughts and opinions are my own and no biases whatsoever. As of the time of this review, it has been told to me that the Letshuoer EJ10 is worth about $2,000 to $2,400 as of now, and I'm not sure what the final prices are. If it is, I'll let you know down in a pinned comment or so, but as of now it's around close to $2,400 for getting the Letshuoer EJ10. So in terms of configurations, the EJ10 is a Tribrid IEM which consists of 2 DDs, 4 BAs, and 4 ESTs. So this thing is packing 10 drivers per unit. With all that said, let's begin. Alright, so in terms of unboxing, since this is a review unit that's given to me from the Geek Group, I am just given the case for the IEM along with the accessories of the IEM. So that's what we're going to go through. And starting with the said case. So as you can see, the case is really good. The cards which are on top is the warranty cards and the specs of these IEM. So in one of the cards, we have the cable information, which is a single crystal copper and silver plated copper hybrid cable. We will get to the cable in a minute, but yep, that's the cable. The other one is the driver specs. So that's what I was telling you about the 2 DDs, 4 BAs, and 4 ESTs. And in terms of impedance, we're talking about an impedance of 22 ohms and a sensitivity of 102 dB. In terms of the shell is a titanium shell, which I will show you in a minute. But yes, it's a titanium alloy, and the faceplates is actually stabilized wood faceplates, which is really beautiful to see. So once you open the case, inside you could see that it has Letshuoer written really well, and this is ultra sweet, so that's really premium feel. And in here we have a section for the ear tips, and this is the section where you'll be storing your IEMs and the such. You also have a divider, so you could keep your divisions as per your requirement in here, or you could just remove it. It's Velcro based and you could keep however one you want. Now comes the part that you all been waiting for. Have a closer look at the IEM. So as you can see, the faceplate is actually having this purple wood resin finish, which looks really beautiful. And the shell itself is actually a titanium shell, and it's really smooth. So as you can see, if I show you from the back, so here's a backside view of the same. As you can see, the shell is really smooth, very nice to use, and very comfortable to wear. Since it's titanium, it's also pretty cool to the touch when you wear it for the first time. But yeah, that's the shell. Very beautiful. I will show you some close-ups in here as well because of this beauty. You have to appreciate it in its natural lighting, but it's really good to look at. And since it's a wood finish, each person's shell will be different and it will look really nice. But to address the elephant in the room, you could notice this cable is not the actual cable. Now this cable, where do I even begin? So criticism is due where it is. This cable is not the best of cables. It is pretty good in terms of overall comfort elements, but the ear hook is okay. The cable itself is super stiff. I mean, like, it's very stiff. It's having a lot of memory in it. The chin slider, working chin slider, yes, but given that this cable is so stiff, it doesn't feel good when you're using it. And it has a generic chin slider, which then finishes off to a 4.4 mm with the branding on top. And this cable is pretty well braided. It's a 4-braid cable, which then goes up to a double 2 braids to the ear hooks. But since the stiffness is just so bad and not that comfortable to use. I really did not like the use of this cable. It's okay, but considering the fact that this is a $2,000 product, I really expected a much more better cable. By all means, you should even include a flash acoustics cable or something, but this cable is not the best, so that is why I had to switch it out, and that's why I did. I am now using AD's audio cable for the same, and that has now made my experience with it much more better. In terms of overall sonic performance, this is good. I would not call it any bad in its terms of sonic performance, but by all means, in terms of my overall comfort aesthetics, I really didn't like the cable. So I'm not going to talk anymore about the cable. It's a done and dusted matter. Cable, bad. That's it. In terms of overall ear tip selection, we are having this green style ear tips, and that's what you saw that is lined up in the box in here. It's an okay ear tip. I wouldn't say it's any bad or anything, but I really preferred a good, better seal ear tip than this, and hence I went for the Baroque ear tips, and that's what I'm using for my review as well. So with all that said out of the way, time to go for a fit test. Since I'm going to be using my own cables, I'm not going to be addressing the cable issue anymore, and I'm not going to be talking about my cable, but I will be talking about the IEMs themselves. But here's the right side, and here's the left side. So IEM wise, very comfortable, very good. No parts in my ears getting any pain points whatsoever, since it's pretty smooth as well. Nice and chilly as well if you wear it in an AC environment. But other than that, very comfortable to wear, and it sits pretty flush as well. So that's what I really like about it. Once you ear tip roll what you want, you would get a very good seal and very good comfort altogether. So comfort wise, it's excellent. So with the earphones connected, time to move on to the sound impressions. So moving on to the sound impressions, before we pull out the frequency response graph, let me just tell you once again with a disclaimer, the frequency response graph is not the be all end all of IEMs. It is just a way to show you an overall as to the sound signature of the IEM, but by no means this is giving you the whole picture. So take whatever I say with a huge block of salt. And before we touch up on the frequency response graph, let's just quickly go through the drivability aspect of this. This EJ10 is able to be driven by pretty much anything. It's not a really demanding set that it needs so much power for it to drive to its fullest extent. But of course, with all high-grade IEMs, if you do give so little power to it, it will not shine to its best. But this one doesn't need so much power like some bass heads require, like something like the Duality, for example. So in this case, I was able to run this off even the M5 Ultra. This was running pretty well with that. I was even able to run it off on certain dongles like the Kane RU3, and I'm of course running it on the Gusted stack that I have in here. So everything's running pretty well with the EJ10. It runs to its good extent. You don't have to go searching for super power equipment. You just have to go for good quality equipment. That's all for the EJ10. So with all that said, let's get to the frequency response graph of the said Letshuoer EJ10. So as you can see, this one is actually more of a mellow style. It has good sub bass, which then just rolls to a flat mids, which is really nice, and then smooths out to a good treble region with an overall presence and total. So this one is by all means a neutral oriented IEM, I must say. They call it like a mild V, but then that is in a very heavy quotes of a mild V. I really don't call it mild V. I just say it's more towards a neutral, because as a bass head, I don't call this as something as a bass focused or bass heavy of any sort. So this one is just more towards a little bit of a tasteful bass, and then goes straight to the mids and the vocals. So this one's more vocal centric, I would say. If I were to compare this with something like, let's say, the Performer 8, then this one is having a bit more bass than the Performer 8 for that matter, but then it's more vocal centric with a little bit of bass attached to it. So with all that said, let's get into some song impressions so I could give you how the IEM is treated in accordance with each song. Alright, so moving on to the song impressions, as usual, before I start, all the songs that I'll be listening to, I'll be giving it to you in the form of an Apple Music playlist down in the descriptions, so you can listen to the songs that I'm listening to. With that said, the first song of the day is going to be Oliver Twist by RD. This one is a really good rap song with a lot of bass lines in it, and that is something I really enjoy. With the EJ10, I would first say that the bass is tastefully done, so it's a good bass, but I would not call on a stretch to say that this is thumpy or vibrating sub bass. So it's there, but it's not to that point where I would say that my bass head cravings are fulfilled. It's good, it's nice, It's also having very good details associated to it, but it's just not reaching my bass head requirements. That's just a personal preference for me. I would say that this is more catered towards maybe neutral heads or people who prefers just that slight bass touch to it. But coming from bass-oriented IEMs, I just find this to be like a little bit of a lesser bass to my liking only. The mids are super clean. Yeah, I would say that even though the mids look tilted in the graph, it wasn't. It was really clean, good mids. And the vocals, this one is RD's vocals, male vocals, and it's done so well. It was really nice. I felt the individual nuances, the layering of the song is done really well with the EJ10. I could feel the stereo effect really well. The soundstage is not as wide as it seems. I'd say that this is more towards a normal soundstage, but the individual instruments are given utmost care in their rendering, so it's really done well in that regards. The higher range instruments didn't feel so sharp to me. I didn't call this to be at all sharp. It was actually pretty comfortable. I was able to listen to long periods of time, and it was pretty comfortable to listen to as well. It doesn't feel any sibilance or any of that sort. It was done in a very smooth and very well detailed fashion. So all the nuances are there, but it doesn't hurt your ears in any way. So that's how I would consider the EJ10 to be. On the whole, the song is done really well. It's just that the overall signature is not into my liking, but if you are a neutral head, you would find this to be really enjoyable. So on the whole, really good song, done for me pretty well with the EJ10, I would say. Pretty well. So the next song we're going to look at is On se fait de mal featuring Daju by Zaho. So this one's a French song, and it's really good because this one is more vocal oriented and more melody based. It's not going to be on pure thumping bass or anything. So the vocal is what's having the importance in here. And I say that the EJ10 did really well for this because the bass is not the element of importance in here. The actual importance is between the duet singing, that is Daju and Zaho, and that's done really well because like I said, the individual elements in the vocals, it's given that nuances that it needs, and it's done really well with the EJ10. The layering of the vocals, there's also different instruments that I didn't know existed. Now when listening with the EJ10, you could point out those different instruments and their positions. So that's done really well, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. Given that it's neutral aspect, every instrument is given the importance and nothing is going front or back, but it's just in its perfect position. So that's what I really liked about it. As usual with the hi-hat instruments or any of the high frequency instruments, it's really good. It was really comfortable. I don't find it to be at all sharp. The bass, once again, it's a tasteful bass. It's not super thumpy or vibrating bass, but it's done really well and it's not missing. So the bass is present in a good level, I would say. It's not going to be super thumpy bass or anything, but it is present, and I would not say there's a lack of bass at all with the EJ10. So overall, really good song, done really well with the EJ10 because it's a more vocal and melody-oriented song. So what are my overall thoughts and impressions on the Letshuoer EJ10? Well, first and foremost, the shell is super pretty. I like the titanium shell with the beautiful faceplate. And since it's a one-of-a-kind faceplate, I kind of like the aesthetics of it, and it's purple glory, so it's pretty good. I do know that some people got, instead of a purple faceplate, they got a red faceplate. So it really depends on the kind of wood that you're using. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And the cable, I really hated the cable. That's why I went for my own. So I can't crib about the cable too much, but I would say, given that this is a $2,000 item, a better cable would have been nicer. The box is really good. The box is premium, so I see where that is put into, and that is nice. Just that the cable would have been better. And the star of the show is the sound signature. The IEMs is taking it all. It's a very beautiful neutral sound signature which has more focus on the nuances and the details without making it sound so sibilant or anything of the such, and with a tasteful bass overall. So that's what I really liked about it. The vocals were really good. The melody was really nice. The bass was on the slight touch on tasteful sense. It's not going to be the super thumpy bass that's going to be boggling your mind. It's made to be in the extent that the bass is there, tastefully done, but then more importance was given to the vocal. I don't really call that as a negative on this thing. It's just my personal preference towards bass in general, so I wouldn't hold that against it. But on the whole, what rating would I give for this? Well, with bass in mind, it's not going to be a bass heads IEMs by any stretch of the means. I would say an IEM which is close to endgame levels of neutrality and overall reference level in general, then by all means this is as good for that as it gets. So with that in mind, I would say that the rating for me is 4 out of 5. And simply because the cable was really bad for me. I really didn't like the cable, but the overall sound signature was really good for the case that it is neutral focused and it's not a bass focused sound signature. Would I be using it? I would. Like I said, I switched the cables. I find myself to be using this complementary to my main bass head based IEM, and then I would use this if I want to have a little bit of a switch or a little bit of a difference in the sound signature and the flavors that I'm listening to. So yeah, that was my overall thoughts and impressions on the Letshuoer EJ10. Do let me know your thoughts and impressions down in the comments below. Are you having one of these EJ10s? Are you planning on getting one? Do let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And as usual, if you do like my videos, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like my videos, give me a thumbs down. I don't know. Until then, this is Joe, and I would see you in the next review. Peace.